Imagine walking down a dark, empty street at midnight. A man steps out of the shadows. He is older, heavily scarred, and bleeding. He hands you a small, worn-out notebook and simply whispers, "This will save your life," right before he collapses and takes his last breath. Inside, you find detailed schematics for a machine that bends time. You spend the next 30 years building it. Along the way, you face accidents, you acquire your own scars, and you grow old. Finally, the machine is complete, but the timeline is collapsing. You grab the notebook, step into the machine, and travel 30 years into the past. You find your younger self on that dark street, hand him the notebook, whisper the same warning, and die. This creates a void in logic. Who wrote the notebook? You didn't write the schematics. The older man gave them to you. But the older man didn't write them either. He just kept the ones he received when he was young. The information exists, but it has no point of origin. It was never conceived or authored. It is reality born out of absolute nothingness. A physical object trapped in a loop is a curiosity, but the implications become much darker when applied to human biology. Imagine a geneticist travels 50 years into the past and inadvertently causes a fatal accident. The victim is a young man who, it turns out, was the traveler's own grandfather, killed before he ever met the grandmother. Under the traditional rules of cause and effect, the traveler should instantly cease to exist. Without the grandfather, the father is never born, and the geneticist never has a starting point in time. But if they don't fade away, they are forced into a desperate pivot. They steal the dead man's identity, marry the woman who was supposed to be their grandmother, and father the child who will eventually become their own father. This creates a biological loop where the traveler is their own grandfather. They have become the direct physical cause of their own existence. This breaks the logic of heredity. Half of their DNA comes from their father, but their father got his DNA from them. The genetic code is no longer a line, it's a circle. The sequence of DNA is simply being copied and pasted across generations without a natural evolutionary source. It is a biological glitch, data that exists in the world without ever having been created by it. If we assume the universe is a physical, organic system, this loop is a total failure. The laws of thermodynamics do not allow complex genetic data to manifest without a source. However, if we test this paradox against a simulated reality model, the logic holds. In a digital environment, data doesn't need an evolutionary history. It only needs to be consistent with the rest of the code. Computer science uses a self-referential function, code that infinitely calls upon itself, executing a closed loop treated as a single valid instruction. Viewed through this digital lens, the biological paradox resolves. The traveler's DNA is simply injected code, fulfilling a mandatory timeline requirement. The fact that a biological bootstrap paradox crashes a physical model, but runs perfectly in a digital one, suggests that our entire physical reality functions far less like a natural ecosystem and much more like a rigidly programmed artificial matrix. This isn't just a thought experiment. We can see the seeds of this logic in quantum mechanics, specifically in the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment. At the subatomic level, scientists have observed retrocausality. When a particle is observed at the very end of its journey, that observation can retroactively change how the particle behaved at the beginning. The future event, the observation, dictates the past reality. The effect becomes the cause. If the fundamental building blocks of our world are capable of rewriting their own history to satisfy a future condition, it raises a chilling question about the macro scale. If the subatomic pixels of our reality operate on retrocausal rules, the larger events of human history may be subject to the same computational overrides. In this model, time isn't a river, it's a cosmic hard drive. The past, present, and future aren't happening one after another. They are data files that exist simultaneously on the same server. Think back to the traveler deciding to take his grandfather's place. We usually look at that as a moment of agonizing choice. But if the timeline is a closed circuit, that choice was actually a functional requirement. The traveler had to make that decision, because if he didn't, the internal consistency of the data would break, and the simulation would fail. If we follow this logic to its conclusion, the idea of being a free agent moving through time is an illusion. We are closer to characters in a pre-rendered digital environment, executing the functions necessary to keep the system stable. Every decision you feel you are making right now might just be the result of the matrix manipulating the timeline, ensuring that the loop remains unbroken and the code remains intact.